synthetic aperture radar or SAR to find indications under the ground for leakages. We see ourselves as pioneers in geospatial, especially in the SAR, Synthetic Aperture Radar side of things, where we don't see a lot of tractions and a lot of solutions in that industry. 85, even 90% of the issues around infrastructure, like railways, highways, things like that, are being caused because of high soil moisture that is not being drained correctly, or there's some kind of issue. It's not just water. Imagine that in the US, for example, 20% of the energy, imagine out of those 20%, there's 30%, 40% of leakages. So it's a huge waste of energy.
Hello and welcome to the World Geospatial Industry Council WGIC. Our guest today is Lauren Guy, founder and CTO of Asterra. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for taking this time to join our show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome. So my first question, Lauren, as I was going through Asterra's website, I found it interesting to know that Asterra's technology has a Martian connection. Can you help us understand?
Yeah, so Asterra is using synthetic aperture radar or SAR to find indications under the ground for leakages. Me personally, I work during my master degree on finding indication of water on Mars, and because we cannot work on Mars yet, we use radars on satellites around Mars to find the indications of water, because radars can penetrate the ground even hundreds of meters. So we use that technology to find indications of water, and we based our technology here at Asterra on that assumptions that you can use SAR to find substances under the ground.
Okay, fantastic. So to have such powerful eyes in space and monitor the subsurface infrastructure, as you spoke, is fantastic. Can you help us understand how Asterra is bringing this technology along with the artificial intelligence, analytics, and other information communication technologies to facilitate complete solutions to the customers?
Yeah, so we can even take a step back for a second. So we all know the electromagnetic spectrum, remote sensing. Most of the solutions and most of the remote sensing satellites are around the optical light. It can be infrared, it can be multispectral, and so on and so on. We at Asterra, we use the microwave spectrum. And I think the microwave spectrum is very exciting. You know, we, in the human eye, we see the visual light. The visual light is only 0.003% of the entire spectrum, which is nothing. But microwave is around 15%, 15%. So microwave gives you so much more data, and this is what we are doing here at Asterra. So we are using satellites that can gather the information. They are active satellites, so they are sending information and gathering the information back. And that information can give us insights of what exactly are the properties of every material that it touches on the ground and below the ground. And of course, if you take this data and connect it together, especially with artificial intelligence software that you can teach and teach the system how each target behaves, it really helps you to have a good solution.
Okay, so how are these solutions really helping customers in improving the decision making and operational efficiencies?
So we've started in Asterra on finding water leakages. Not a lot of people know that, but water leakages is a big issue all around the world. Around 30-40% of the water that we are taking from reservoirs or desalinating are just being lost into the ground. So we at Asterra, we developed a way to take synthetic aperture radar images and find indications of water under the ground. And how do we do that? We cross-correlated hundreds and thousands of leakages all around the world to see how do they behave if you radiate them with radars, with remote sensing. And we found the exact composition of treated water and how it looks like with radars. Now, if you take an image and you look for those kind of signals under the ground, you see the leakages, and you have the assumption that if you see water under the ground, it has to be a leakage. So this is how we developed the entire system. It really relies on actual data that we collected from the soil all around the world.
Okay. So, for the benefit of WGIC members and the wider geospatial industry, can you help us understand Asterra's ground infrastructure solutions? I mean, with an example, if you can
Yes.
enumerate, that would be great.
So we started with leakages, but we always knew that we can do much more. If we can find leakages, why not finding any kind of soil moisture? So we developed a way to estimate and locate exact soil moisture percentages. And from that, the solution to infrastructure was quite obvious. 85, even 90% of the issues around infrastructure, like railways, highways, things like that, are being caused because of high soil moisture that is not being drained correctly, or there's some kind of issue. So if you can identify and locate locations with very high soil moisture below the ground, so there's even no indications that you can see above the ground, then you can predict where exactly is going to be an issue around key infrastructure.
So, this is the case of transportation infrastructure, right? Railways and roadways. Can the same be
Exactly.
extended to any other infrastructure as
Yeah,
well?
so we started with railways and highways, but we even expanded that to any kind of property. So imagine that we can take an image of a huge park or a huge mall or even a residential house and find indications under the grounds and find indications of sinkholes and landslides. So it definitely can be much more than linear infrastructure. We can expand it to many, many more verticals.
It's actually quite eye-opening for me that 85 to 90% of issues in infrastructure are
Yeah.
for soil moisture. That's very an important point to consider, certainly. But will you please tell me what are the kind of sectors and other industries besides transportation that these solutions are finding most use in the world?
So we started, of course, with the utility side and infrastructure side, but we always knew that we can take this technology and apply it to many, many verticals. One of the verticals that we got into in the last few years is mineral exploration. If we can detect from space what the exact signature of water, we can also detect what's the exact signature of any kind of material that we want to find. So in the last few years, we developed a solution to find indications of lithium under the ground, which was quite successful. And since then, we are growing right now a little bit into the defense market, which is quite exciting. We didn't be in the defense market because we wanted to be around in the environmental side as much as we could, but we are getting into the defense market a little bit. Agriculture, of course, insurance. There are many, many different ideas here at the company. And also we are pushing to launch our own satellite in the next few years. So we are expanding beyond being just a data provider or insights provider. We can be much more.
Fantastic. Congratulations on this initiatives for to launch your satellite. But I'll be, for the moment, interested in understanding your defense applications.
Yeah, so as I said, most of our applications are heavily connected to the soil. So it's around soil moisture and things like that. And it all depends on the vertical you are taking them. So soil moisture can be applied to agriculture. It can be applied to insurance. So it's not necessarily a very specific product, but it's more of a layer that we are providing to different industries.
Okay, fantastic. So one of the very pertinent issues, most of the industries, it has become an umbrella issue, is the climate change, right? So in your view, how are Asterra solutions empowering customers mitigate some of the climate change issues?
So I do think that Asterra is heavily connected to that. Up until now, in the last 10 years, Asterra found 115,000 leakages. Now, it's not just water. Imagine that in the US, for example, 20% of the energy in the US is pushing water. Now, imagine out of those 20%, there's 30%, 40% of leakages. So it's a huge waste of energy. Around 7%, 8% of the energy of the US is being wasted into the ground. So if you can find leakages, you can save energy. And of course, energy is heavily connected to the carbon footprint that belongs to that. So Asterra actually measuring those SDG indicators that relates to the number of leakages that we find, and so on. So we definitely see ourselves as a key partner in that effort.
Yeah, I actually saw a social media post very recently
Yeah.
that you were able to meet the Asterra has been able to save about a million megawatt hour of energy so far
Right.
with your efforts along with customers and partners. Can you tell us more about this timeline? Because I'm very much in sync with your thinking that the only way we are going to meet sustainable development goals is through collaboration. So how is Asterra achieving this kind of ambitious goals?
So it's quite easy for us there because our solutions are heavily connected to that. So what we're actually doing is we deliver our leakages to the clients or to the states, and they are measuring how our leakages can help them reducing the water. There was a very big a project in California stated by the California Energy Committee that actually measured how much energy can be related to the saves that we are doing here at Asterra. And it was a very insightful report, and I do urge everyone to read it. It really shows how everything is connected together.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. And I wish you many more such milestones moving forward. I now move on to the second part of this interview, Lauren. So that is that is about your association with WGIC. It's been a few months that Asterra has joined WGIC. I want to understand what brings Asterra to WGIC and how will the business aspirations of Asterra aligning with those of WGIC?
So yes, we joined a few months ago into this association because we see ourselves as pioneers in geospatial, especially in the SAR, Synthetic Aperture Radar side of things, where we don't see a lot of tractions and a lot of solutions in that industry. So of course, we want to push that industry, although it might give us competition, or although it might give us different products that similar to us, but we see it as a good thing, because if we will push SAR, if we will push SAR satellites and microwave solutions, it can benefit everyone. So we do see ourselves as a very vocal voice for those SAR discussions and remote sensing discussions within the association, in order to push the idea of using synthetic aperture radar for commercial usages, because there are usages of synthetic aperture radar, but they are mostly in defense. They are mostly around INSAR, which is totally different. So we see ourselves as a key part of the forum of pushing commercial SAR solutions.
Certainly, yes, are very unique solutions. But I'm sure you understand that WGIC is also a congregation of a vast variety of companies, including data products, including companies that sell data products, services, and solutions, right? So how are you intending, being a member of WGIC, be able to leverage the strengths and strengths of other WGIC members, so that ultimately it is the customer that we are trying to serve as a collective industry body, right? So how you plans to leverage the entire industry that is available to you right now at WGIC?
So we always said that we want to focus on what we are best, and what we are best is taking raw information from satellites and giving actionable insights to the end client. We always partner up with other companies that can help us get to that point in things that we are not expert of. For example, sometimes we partner with a marketplace that can give us optical satellite information, or DEM information, or AI capabilities. So we do collect third-party information sometime and third-party solutions in order to enhance our solutions, because sometimes you don't want to develop everything in-house. It makes a lot of sense to go to your partners and discuss with them how your solution can help them, and of course how their solution can help you and saves you a lot of time and efforts, and of course getting to the end clients even faster. If we can share clients, if we can offer shared solutions, it can help a lot.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining this conversation, Lauren. Appreciate your time.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.